using a word that rhymes with the N-word. Donald Trump himself, their leader, using the term riggers, which clearly rhymes with the N-word.
Oh, and he wants to find the riggers, his word, not mine, who stole the election from him. Rigger, please.
Trump, you don't need to look for a dog whistle. It's a bullhorn when it comes to race, and I do think that's deliberate. We've seen slanderous attacks that he's put out against Fani Willis.
Really? Yeah, apparently. You know why the media has such a low approval rating? It's because of stuff like this. Incredibly stupid things like this. Where Donald Trump is being critical of a process that he doesn't trust, and whether you think he's wrong or not, he's allowed to have those opinions. At least he used to be allowed to have those opinions. So he's been complaining about it. Unfortunately, when you complain about something the media doesn't want you to complain about, they come after you. And if you're Donald Trump, they come after you extra hard. They pretend that you're a racist. They say that you're a giant, total, unrepentant racist, which is why you're using code words like rigger, which no one has ever used as a racial slur until Donald Trump did. Now that Donald Trump has said the word, it is now a racial slur. Trust us. Listen to our analysis. We're smart people. Look at the things we're saying. By the way, here's Al Sharpton, an actual racist. Go look up Al Sharpton and the things he's had to say. He's on MSNBC. So is Joe Scarborough. Joe Scarborough introduced a resolution in Congress slamming this guy for being an anti-Semite. Yet now they work together at MSNBC, and it's fine because Donald Trump's the real racist.
And the racial language. I mean, this woman to call a federal office or call a judge's chambers talking about to a slave using a word that rhymes with the N-word. Donald Trump himself, their leader, using the term riggers, which clearly rhymes with the N-word.
Riggers rhymes with the N-word, therefore it's clearly racist. And you're about to hear Mika Brzezinski tell you how smart that is.
I mean, this is not 10 years ago or 30 years ago when we marched against him on the Central Park Five. I'm talking about within the last 24 hours, used the term riggers. Is this the kind of party the Republicans want to show the country that they are?
I thought this was a joke when it was first brought to my attention. I did. I thought it was a joke, but now we're going to see Manu Raju, run through people in Congress and ask them what they think of the term riggers? That's what we're going to do now? Because we're pretending that this might be a racial slur, racial code? Remember, Donald Trump is such a racist with a history of being racist that he's using code words to be racist. That's the argument, right? Okay, yeah, sure, makes a lot of sense. Total sense.
There's no wonder independents are running away from them. To identify with blatant racism and blatant violence is not the party that we need. And I've never been a...
Where is the racism and where is the blatant violence? Blatant racism, of course, by using the word riggers, of course. That's blatant racism. So if you use a word that rhymes with another word, you're a racist. I think that's about as serious as we need to take this, right? But they're going to pretend that maybe there's something there. Maybe Al Sharpton has a point. But he doesn't.
Republican never lean their way, but we need a two-party system, but we don't need one that prides itself in bigotry.
Yeah, and Trump has used, of course, that racist and inflammatory language for so long and only leading into it further as he's dealing with.
Okay, well, what was the racist thing here? Can you lay that out? No? You're just going to say it's racist. Oh, riggers. Riggers, yeah. Sure. Here's Keith Boykin, formerly the Clinton White House. He's got some thoughts on it, too. It's totally racist.
Donald Trump does not like the idea that he's been indicted 4 times. And he surely does not like the idea that a black woman, Fulton County DA Fani Willis, is leading the prosecution.
Is there any evidence that he's like, oh, I'm so mad there's a black person doing it? None. They say stuff like this all the time. There's no evidence that that's true. They just say it like it's a fact. Only an idiot would listen to Keith Boykin and then reference what he's saying and pretend it makes sense. Oh, yeah, Jake Tapper's coming up doing just that in a second. Hold on.
Atlanta, Georgia. That means 3 of the 4 prosecutors holding him accountable are black. So now he claims he has an irrefutable report to release next week to prove the election was stolen from him. And for some reason, he's been holding on to this alleged exculpatory information for 2.5 years and never released it until now. Oh, and he wants to find the riggers, his word, not mine, who stole the election from him. Rigger, please.
Okay, I'm with you on everything you said up until the race thing. And that's how stupid this kind of stuff is. You have a good argument. If Donald Trump has the information, he should have put it out a long time ago. He was waiting 2.5 years to hold this? No, of course not. That's stupid. But what you decided as well is to not only make a good point, you would decide to make a really stupid point and pretend that you think Donald Trump's being racist by saying riggers, which, again, nobody believes. Someone who rigs. I mean, how hard is this? He thinks people rig the election. He's been saying that all along. Did he think that people N-worded the election? Doesn't make any sense. None. Yet there are people on television pretending this. And people referencing other idiots who pretend it. Enter Jake Tapper.
Keith Boykin.
Sorry. Jake Tapper, Dylan Mulvaney, and one of Trump's old hands, who now all of a sudden hates everything about Donald Trump and thinks he's a racist.
Keith Boykin, a Democratic political commentator and former White House aide to Bill Clinton, he took issue with that term. Take a listen.
Oh, and he wants to find the riggers, his word, not mine, who stole the election from him. Rigger, please.
Boykin went on to say Trump's choice of words is not an accident after spending days making racist attacks against Fani Willis, the black woman leading the prosecution against him in Atlanta. Alyssa, what do you make of the racial accusation Keith Boykin was making there, that the use of the word rigger is not unintentional? President Trump has certainly been accused of racist language before.
Right. With Trump, you don't need to look for a dog whistle. It's a bullhorn when it comes to race. And I do.
Wait a second. Hold on. Again, he says racist stuff all the time. You don't have to look for the dog whistle. You don't have to look for the coded words. Except in this case, we're going to look for the coded words, and we're going to pretend that we think riggers is a racial slur. Right? That's what we're going to do? Okay. All right. But with Trump, you don't have to do that. By the way, didn't you used to work for Trump? He's always been a racist, right? Interesting. By the way, what would happen if this woman came on this program and said, no, this is stupid. What are you guys doing? Would she be allowed back on? No, she has to say this. Now, that makes her a terrible person. And as are the other two people sitting here. But it still has to be pointed out. She is afraid. Her only reason to exist is to say, I'm a Republican, I used to work for Donald Trump, and I hated him. Money, please. Her dad, Joseph Farah, WorldNet Daily, complete con artist as well. It must be genetic.
I do think that's deliberate. We've seen slanderous attacks that he's put out against Fani Willis, alleged things I won't even repeat. So he's not really hiding that he's going to lean into that element. And this is taking place just outside of Atlanta. When you saw the courtroom, it was a lot of black men and women.
I never thought that. I did not think, hey, look, there's a bunch of black people. Who thinks like that? Racists think like that. Normal human beings do not think this way. This is solely a creation of the media, where they see race in every regard all the time. And because normal people don't do that, they don't think, oh, I shouldn't say the word rigger because it rhymes with the N-word. So does trigger. A lot of crimes are committed by black people. That's a racial connotation there that you've just drawn, and now you're a racist. Alyssa Farah Griffin is a fraud. Al Sharpton is a fraud. Keith Boykin is a fraud. Jake Tapper is a fraud. Dylan Mulvaney didn't even say anything in this clip, and he's a fraud. But you have to remember, these people want you to believe their analysis on everything. And I'll go with Boykin. What he's talking about where he canceled the press conference? Absolutely correct. If Trump had the information, so be it. Talk about that. You're going to make things up to pretend to be upset about. I know you want to get on TV. I get all of that stuff. I got it. I'm in the same world. But this stuff is so pathetic. And it's one of the reasons why the American people do not trust the American media.